Hello and welcome to the vlog of today. Today we're going to talk about Blood 2, The Chosen, and Hellraiser movies. So let's just get started. I don't have anything like a project like I normally do, so we are going to just go around and do some random stuff while talking. Now, Blood 2, The Chosen was, of course, the sequel to Blood. And I played Blood, but I never completed it, so I'm not going to review it. I only review, in this vlog, I only review games that I've actually completed. And yeah, Blood 2 was from 1998. It was released by Monolith. I think they made Blood as well. Blood 1 was actually originally a 3D Realms slash Apogee project, but but they did never finished it. So instead, Monolith took over the project. Um, it's been many years since I played Blood 2. So I can't really recall a lot of the game, but I remember it being pretty okay. It's from, like I said, from 1998, and first-person shooters, 3D graphics in first-person shooters, was still a pretty new thing. So there was a lot of different first-person shooters, and a lot of them wasn't really that great. But I actually liked that there was a lot rather than a few perfect. I would rather have a lot of like not completely perfect games. What, really? Is this all I can get? But yeah, Blood 2 The Chosen was, of course, the sequel to Blood. And the story of both games is that you're a demon that has risen, that has been killed. At least that's the story in the first one. I can't remember. And you are risen from hell, and you pretty much have to, I think, take revenge on the people who killed you and help other demons. And the first game, which I'm not going to review, had a lot of great humor, references to horror games, and so did the second. But the second focused a little more on the action rather than the humor, as far as I could tell. And like I said, I enjoyed it. It wasn't like a really great game, but I think it was pretty fun. Um, as far as I remember, it was kind of short, and the first levels, like the first couple of levels, maybe half of the levels, were really interesting. Like there was a museum. You had to the first level especially. You rode on a train. That was pretty cool. You had to like go on a train, and you ran from like a subway, and you ran from cart to cart. I really enjoyed that part. I remember. But after that, it became pretty much kind of boring as far as I remember. Like I said, it's been a long time since I played this game. So, what am I looking for? I'm not looking for anything. But, and a lot of games actually had that weird tendency with starting with a lot of original games, but they kind of run out of ideas. I think Doom 3 had that problem. Rage had that problem. The last couple of levels in Rage were kind of boring. But like I said, in the end of the 90s, the late 90s, 98, 99, a lot of games came out, first-person shooters, and this was before franchises was really a thing. I mean, Doom was already up at Final Doom, and maybe Doom 3? No, Doom 3 is later. But yeah, franchises wasn't really that much of a thing, so more original games came out that didn't always have to be like, oh, we have to make this a sequel to something. So I really enjoyed that more than now, where every game seems to have a reference or a sequel to something else. Just gonna feed these cows. But I would say if you can get Blood 2 cheap, I would suggest you play it because it is a fun game. It had a lot of bugs as I remember, and some of the gameplay became kind of repetitive and boring. And, but still, like I said, if you can get it cheap or know a friend who has it and you can borrow it, I would say go for it. Now, I thought that since Blood 2 was a game about demons, I would talk about my favorite demon movies, the Hellraiser series. I'm a big fan of the Hellraiser series. I haven't seen the newest one, like the ninth movie, but as far as I can tell, it really hasn't much to do with the others. They didn't even use the same uh, actor to play Pinhead. I mean, in all other 8 movies, it was the same guy who played Pinhead. A guy called, I think it was It's Duck something. I'm just collecting leather, if you couldn't tell. Trying not to kill the small ones. But yeah, Hellraiser movies. That was what I was talking about. I've always been a really big fan of Hellraiser. I started actually very early in my early teens, like 13, maybe 12, maybe at the age of 12. Not sure though. I want to kill the little one, so I'm trying to avoid that. Let's just let the last 2 dolls live. But yeah, the Hellraiser movies, awesome, and some of them are of course better than others. But I think my favorite of the Hellraiser movies is number 2, then number 1, then probably number 6, then 5, then 3, then 10, then 4, and my least favorite is number. Did I say 10? There's only 8. So my least favorite is number 7. Let's run that again. 2, 1, 6, 5, 3, 8, 4, and 7. That's my favorite, I guess. My list of how I would set them up as favorites. Now, for those of you who don't know the Hellraiser movies and think, oh, they're horror movies, and yeah, they are kind of horror movies. Yes, they are horror movies. These are not like based on suspense, like shock value and stuff. It's not based on gore. It's more based on, and it's not even a psychological. It's more, I don't know, art in a way. I think the main plot in most of the Hellraiser movies, I don't know why I did that. That was wrong. Is pretty much all about pain and pleasure, about sin. And the first movie, which is like where the story starts, and I think the first 2 movies are based on the actual book, which is called The Hellbound Heart, and is written by the writer Clive Barker, who I think also directed the first movie. I'm not sure. I know he directed some of his own movies, like Nightbreed, but I think he also directed the first Hellraiser movie. And the plot is pretty simple: that what am I doing? I have to make more bookshelves. That's what I'm doing. There's this puzzle box which opens a path to hell. And this guy called Frank is trying to do this. But, unfortunately, he solves the puzzle wrong, so it kills him and sends him to hell. But, if blood, I think innocent blood lands, is spilled where the person died, he will have an escape from hell. It's kind of complicated, but somehow blood comes and he rises, and Pinhead and his army, or whatever you want to call it, called the Cenobites, have to go after Frank and get him back to hell. And I think the movies are some of them are kind of corny, but a lot of them is actually pretty deep. There's some really, really nice dialogue in the movies. My favorite, all-time favorite, is I think it's from Hellraiser 2, where Pinhead, the main Cenobite, says to the lead role, I think it's to the lead, he says, "No tears, please. It's a waste of good suffering." I mean, come on, how can you not love that line? It's pure evil. And Pinhead isn't actually evil. He is in some of the movies, but that's because the good side and evil side has been separated. So his evil side is still Pinhead, while his good side is his former self. Because even Pinhead was once human. I know it's complicated. I know. But really great movies, and the third and fourth movie is where Pinhead becomes evil and kind of tries to bring hell to Earth, and those are all they're pretty good too. The third one has some of the best dialogue ever. It's like, for instance, there is no good, there is no evil, there's only flesh and the pleasures to which we succumb. I mean, come on, that's well written dialogue. Also, another line from the movie is, "There's a secret song at the center of the earth. Its its sound is like races through flesh. I'm here to turn up the volume." Really, really, really well written dialogue, and some very nice effects too. And a lot of the Cenobites in the movies are incredibly well done as well. And by the sixth movie, no, the fifth movie, after we had the whole evil Pinhead, we returned to kind of like the original. Well, not exactly the original, but by the fifth movie, it becomes more that Pinhead is actually in the background. That's because the book wasn't actually, the story wasn't originally not meant to be a Hellraiser movie, but a completely different story. But the something about the the producers would only make it if somehow they could make it into a Hellraiser movie, and I think it actually worked out. There's been a lot of complaints, but come on, even the greatest movies in the world, there's people complaining. But yeah, by the fifth, it becomes more about the human pleasures and human pain, human sin, human emotions, the dark side of humanity and stuff like that, and that's really a nice twist in the story. But like I said, it wasn't originally meant to be a Hellraiser movie. But they carry that on for the fifth and sixth movie. The seventh, which is my least favorite, is kind of, I can't even remember what that's about. And the eighth is kind of like Hellraiser in the real world, I guess. It's pretty cool. I like the eighth movie with Lance Henriksen, actually. So that's pretty fun. But yeah, like I said, I haven't seen the ninth movie. I should, and I'm going to, of course. But it really didn't get that great reviews. But neither did actually a lot of the Hellraiser movies, like the sixth and fifth, didn't, which I enjoy very much. They didn't get that great reviews. But I think that's it for now. Like I said, 8 Hellraiser movies, all of them really good. I would suggest, if you only want to see some of them, start with the first one, and then see the second one. They are very close connected. And like I said, my favorite is the second, but you need to see the first in order to fully understand the second. Really well done about it. It's, in my opinion, it's horror art rather than suspense or gore or psychological. It's about humanity itself, the dark side of humans, about lust, about desire, about pain and pleasure. So watch those. And back to the game, Blood 2, like I said, Blood 2 is a pretty fun game. It's a standard first-person shooter from a time when first-person shooters, they took more chances with first-person shooters, which I miss very much. And now we get like sometimes we get an original game, but most of the time we get franchises like Blood, no, not Blood, like Doom games or Quake or Call of Duty, Halo, Bioshock. It seems that everything is a sequel to something, and sometimes we get a new game. Um, but back then in the 90s, mid 90s, and late 90s, we got more original games, and people took more chances, and there was more games because everything didn't have to be like 100% perfect. I kind of miss those days. I would rather have a lot of mediocre games than a very, very few selection of good games that we have these days. I mean, yes, now we have a lot of the indie games, but to me, it seems that the indie games have come to the point where it's just, oh, I just made a game with poor graphics that'll be over in an hour. Let's call it an indie game. And I know indie games means independent games, but people, when independent game makers are getting lazy, in my opinion. I mean, I'm pretty sick and tired of seeing pixelated games or Minecraft rip-offs or horror games where the horror is just pretty much a picture suddenly flashing on the screen. I mean, how many of those can we do? And stop with the Slender games. I miss the time where games were more there were more games but they weren't as perfect. I don't know if that makes sense. But like I said, Blood 2, if you can buy it cheap or get it free or I don't know, I would suggest trying it out because it was pretty fun. And for the time, the graphics were pretty decent. It's not as good as the original Blood, but I would say give it a try. And I think that's it for now. Hope you enjoyed this vlog, review, whatever. And I'll see you hopefully this Saturday, which would be that'll be the first time I actually do two in a week, which I was actually supposed to be doing for a while now. But as you know, my Saturdays there's been no videos lately because I have been busy with family stuff. But I am not this Saturday, so hopefully I will be able to have a one more vlog this Saturday. But yeah, also see you then and see you tomorrow for more gaming. Bye.